H. Hypothesis. Based on the frame of thinking above, the writer formulated the hypothesis of the research as follows. HA. Is there is a significant influence of using Jakarta Post news item towards students' reading comprehension at the first semester of the 11th grade of SMA Al Azhar 3 Bandar Lampung in the academic year of 2018 and 2019. HO. There is no significant influence of using Jakarta Post news item towards students' reading comprehension at the first semester of the 11th grade of SMA Al Azhar 3 Bandar Lampung in the academic year of 2018 and 2019. Research methodology. Research design. In conducting this research, the writer applied experimental design in order to know the influence of using Jakarta Post news item towards students' vocabulary mastery. Experimental design is the general plan to carrying out a study with an independent variable. In this research, the writer used quasi-experimental research design. Quasi-experiments include assignment, but not random assignment of participants to groups. This is because the experimenter cannot artificially create groups for the experiment. In this research, the writer used two classes of students that consist of one class as the experimental class and another class as the control class, according to Ari et al., who state that the variety of quasi-experimental designs, which can be divided into two main categories, there are pre-test, post-test, and post-test only. The writer uses pre-test and post-test. The writer applies the pre-test and post-test design approach to a quasi-experimental design. The writer design is conducted at the first semester of the 11th grade of SMA Al Azhar 3 Bandar Lampung. B. Variable of the research. Variable is a characteristic of attribute of an individual of an organization that a researcher can measure or observe and varies among individuals or organization study. There are two variables in this research, namely independent variable and dependent variable. Independent variable is the major variable which is investigated. It is a variable that is selected, manipulated, and measured in the research, while the dependent variable is a variable which is observed and measured to determine the effect of the independent variable. In this research, the writer used Philly game as independent variable, X and vocabulary mastery as a dependent variable, Y. C. Operational definition of variable. The operational definition of variable is used to describe the variables which are used in this research to avoid misconception of variables present in this research. The operational definition of variables of this research as follows as 1. Independent variable X. Jakarta Post news item is a kind of text for reading comprehension by asking students to read carefully the text that had been given by English teacher, and then the teacher give them some questions. After, the students are asked to make a summary of the news. In order to know the extent of students' reading comprehension, then check to see if they are correct or not. 2. Dependent variable. Students' reading comprehension is the students' knowledge of reading that understand the meaning of the text. Students must have ability to use or to understand words of language that they have learned in certain situations, which they really have experienced in their lives, including word meaning, word use, and language features. D. Population, sample, and sampling technique. 1. Population. The population in social science research refers to all of your potential participants. Think of it the whole group of people in which you are interested. According to Ari et al., state that larger group about which is the which the generalization is made is called population. A population is defined as all members of any defined class of people, events, and objects. Population of the research is all of the students at the first semester of the 11th grade of SMA Al-Azhar 3 Bandar Lampung in the academic year of 2018 and 2019. The number of population are 306 students, consist of 9 class, 6 science class, and 3 social class. Sample of the research. A sample is a subgroup of the largest of the target population that the research plans to do study for generalizing about the target population. The sample of this research was divided into 2 classes based on the total population that in that school were 150 students from 3 classes in the first semester at 7th grade. The first class was experimental class and the other was control class. 3. Sampling technique. For getting the sampling from population, the writer used cluster random sampling. Cluster random sampling occurs when the population is already divided into natural, pre-existing group. A cluster could be a state, district, and etc. E. Data collecting technique. Collecting data is the most important step in conducting the research. In collecting data in this research, the researcher used a test according to Donald Ali. Test is a set of stimuli presented to an individual in order to elicit responses of the basis of which a numerical score can be assigned. Before conducting the real test, the researcher conducts a tryout test to gauge its validity, reliability of each item of the test. In this research, the researcher gave test, namely vocabulary test, to get the data or information. F. Research instrument. In order to know about reading comprehension test, the researcher used the multiple choice with 4 options A, B, C, D. Thornbury states that multiple choice tests are the popular way of testing in that they are easy to score and they are easy to design. Before the researcher gave the tryout test to the students, the instrument consists of 50 items, and after tryout test, the instrument consists of 25 items. G. Scoring procedure. In scoring vocabulary test, the ideal highest score is 100, and the answer is score 1 if it is correct, and score 0 if it is wrong or incorrect, by using the certain formula. H. Research procedure. In conducting the research, the writer used the following steps. 1. Determining the subject. The writer determines the subject. In this case, the writer chooses the 11th grade of SMA Al-Azhar 3 Bandar Lampung as the subject of the research. One class is as the experimental class and one is control class. 2. Determining the population and sampling signing the test. The writer determined the instruments that was taught by students. The instruments was descriptive text. The students got the same instrument for both classes on the topics. 3. Selecting the material that was given. The writer selected the materials that's suitable for the students. For example, the writer selected the descriptive text that had easier to understand by the students. 4. Giving the treatment. The writer teaches the class. The writer gave the treatment in 5 meetings. In the treatment, the writer as a teacher teaches the students reading comprehension by using Jakarta Post news item. The writer gives the explanation about the news item text. For instance, the generic structures of news item text are general classification and description. 5. Giving the pretest, post-test, and the score result. The writer conducts the pretest before the treatment. The writer prepares a kind of test that is given to the students. Then the writer conducts the post-test after the treatment. By giving post-test, the writer knows the students' improvement in their reading comprehension. This test is aimed to know the students' reading comprehension after giving the treatment. In this test, the students is given some question. Then the students answer question. 6. Analyzing the result of the test. The writer analyzes the data to find out whether news item effective or not. Validity and reliability of the test. 1. Validity of the test. Validity is the most important consideration in developing and evaluating measuring instruments. It means that a good test must have validity, so the test can measure the aspects that is measured. To measure whether the test has good validity or not, the writer used the content and construct validity. Content validity. Best and cons state that content validity refers to the degree to which the test actually measures, or it's specifically related to the traits for which it was designed. Content validity is based upon the careful examination of course textbook, syllabus objectives, and the judgment of the subject matter specialist. B. Construct validity. Best and Khan also stated to construct the validity is the degree to which scores on a test can be accounted for by the explanatory constructs of a sound theory. It means that construct validity is focused on the aspects of the test which can measure the students' reading comprehension. In this research, the writer asked students to answer the question test that can measure the students' reading comprehension. To make sure, the writer consulted the English teacher of SMA Al-Azhar 3, Bandar Lampung, Mr. Arif Rahman SS, for determining whether the test will obtain construct validity or not. 2. Reliability of the test. Reliability is the consistency or stability of the values, test scores, or weight measurements. Reliability is measure of accuracy, consistency, dependability, or fairness of scores resulting from administration or particular examination. To ensure the reliability of the scores and to avoid the subjectivity of the writer used